Leadership isn't a noun, it's a verb. Being in charge doesn't make you a leader. Effective leadership is providing the vision and the motivation to a team so that they work together toward the same goal. People who possess good leadership qualities stand out. They stand out through the highs and the lows as those around them watch closely. People want to follow good leadership. They want to do more, be more, work smarter, and share in the larger vision. Colin Powell said, "Good leaders are people who are trusted by followers." To be trusted by others, we need to trust ourselves. How about you? Do you trust you? Do you know how you will respond under stress? When under pressure, will your true self come out? In this section, I have drawn much of the content from Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit: Why We Do What We Do in Life and in Business. Now, obviously, Mr. Duhigg believes very strongly in his work. He has provided a study guide to download once you have purchased his book. You can use that study guide while teaching yourself and also when you work with others. I would strongly recommend you obtain your own copy of this book. Now, obviously, you can check it out at the library, borrow it from a friend, read it, and return it. But I think you'll find it will become a resource to you, one that you will want to refer to often. In my years of coaching, training, and working with leaders, I've found the successful ones are always returning to the books that have influenced them. You will find this book to be one of those influencers. I'm convinced of that. Now, since Mr. Duhigg is kind enough to provide a study guide, my personal preference is to purchase the book as an Audible book. And then I use the study guide to take my notes. Now, in these notes, I include a stamp indexing the time in the audio when I heard that information. And that becomes my bookmarks. You all have your own way. This just works for me. And by the way, this isn't a commercial for the book. It's just a great read. Creating a positive pattern of behavior is nothing more than replacing bad habits with good habits. And in the next several minutes, we will discover together how to do that. And if you don't now, you will be able to trust you. Henry David Thoreau is quoted as saying, "I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor." Stephen Covey put it this way, "The way we see the problem is the problem." By now, you should have realized this course does not offer a quick fix to becoming a good leader. If you are looking for this quick fix, then your thinking has become the problem. We are laying a foundation. And if you want to succeed, that foundation must be solid. It must be strong. Now, as the catalyst for this section, consider this story of Viktor Frankl. Frankl was imprisoned in the death camps of Nazi Germany. One day, naked and alone in a small room, he began to become aware of what he later called the last of the human freedoms. The freedom his captors could not take away. He could decide within himself how all of this was going to affect him. Between what happened to him, or the stimulus, and his response to the stimulus, was freedom or power to choose that response. In the midst of the most degrading circumstances imaginable, Frankl used the human endowment of self-awareness to discover a fundamental principle about the nature of man, and that is, between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. Now, not only do we have the freedom to choose, but we also have imagination. This great ability to create in our minds something beyond our present reality. Through this ability, we have the power to write new programs for ourselves. And in some instances, if required, we can rewrite our entire operating system. This, in more simple terms, is called forming habits. We can, sometimes with a lot of hard work, create habits that kick in whenever a recognized stimulus occurs. This habit controls our response to the stimuli. One-word phrases to kind of describe this response would be fight or flight, empathy or apathy, understanding or intolerance. Now, this is a big deal. How you respond is indicative to those around you whether you can be trusted or not. If you are challenged by a team member, a customer, a peer, or a family member in a negative way, people will know not to trust you with negative information. They are going to only bring you the good news, not necessarily the right news. And if your response was really full of emotion, they are going to learn to avoid you at all costs. Not a good place to be as a leader. Now, referring to the 7 habits, you remember Mr. Covey's book, he teaches that the first habit that all effective people have in common is proactivity. All humans have the power to choose or to take initiative, but being proactive is more. As Viktor Frankl discovered, it means we are responsible for our own lives. The way we behave is a function of the decisions we make, not the conditions we find ourselves in. Now, in the next lecture, we will dive into this habit of being proactive and learn how to develop our own responsive habits. Habits that kick in because we are being proactive. We'll see you there.